Hello, my friend. What do you do when you feel blocked? That's what we're going to talk about today. When you feel that you're not really in tune with yourself, you're not sure which way to go, you might be in the middle of discouragement. You might have tried a bunch of things and they didn't seem to work. And you might be in this place of feeling stuck and feeling like I have had hope before and it didn't work. So maybe some disillusionment. What do you do when you're in a space like that? We can all think about times when we have felt that way, when we have felt blocked, when we don't even, maybe you don't even realize how you're feeling. You might not even be able to pinpoint. You just feel cluttered up, just bleh. Well, I'm just getting over a cold, and I can tell you I have felt bleh for the past few days, and I don't get sick. Like I get sick maybe once a year. So this is my once a year. This is once for this year. And I've had to use the principle that I'm going to teach today multiple times over the past several days. So what do you do when you're in a space like that where you're like, gosh, I have had hope before and it didn't work. And so now what? Or I tried something and it didn't work. So now what? Or I've stopped and started so many times and I don't have faith in myself anymore, or have faith in the process anymore, or faith that there ever was a process or ever was a plan for you. I don't know if you've ever been there, but I have been there and I know what that feels like. So we're going to talk about that today and what to do when you're in a space like that, because it can kind of feel like when you've had hope in the past and now you feel disillusioned, it can kind of feel like the end of your life, almost like the end of your purpose. You feel like, okay, well, if all of that was all of that for nothing, all of that creation that I've done up till now, all the things that I've tried to do up till now, if those weren't working, if those aren't really working, what is my purpose? What was I actually going for? What was I actually trying to do? And maybe you can relate with that. And so I'm going to draw a little bit for those of you on YouTube and describe it for those of you on the podcast. So I'm going to draw a picture of our stick figure with a circle around it, like I always do. And this is you, okay? It's really not a great drawing. Okay. And around you are these little stars. These little stars represent all the little hopes and dreams that you've had. All the little hopes and dreams, the things that you would love to accomplish. And they might be, I'm drawing them small because they might be small right now. And we also have around us, we also have emotional clutter. That might be a lot of hard things with your family. It might be a lot of distractions. It might be even addiction, or it might be like even addiction to your phone or chocolate that's bothering you. It might be that your body isn't in a great spot right now and you don't feel very energized or very vibrant. There's a lot of different things it could be. So I'm drawing all these little shapes around all these stars, all of this garbly-gook, that's what I call it. Just these thoughts that are around you they're not pretty, and they clutter us up, they gum up our ability to think clearly and to act well and to feel vibrant. They slow us down, they bog us down. These thoughts that sometimes we entertain without realizing that we're entertaining them or agreeing with them on some on some level. And so sometimes when we have one of those thoughts and our brain latches onto that and says, yeah, and like if your body isn't feeling very vibrant, and maybe you're on a plateau, and or maybe you've gained some inches lately, or you're just not feeling vibrant in your body, your brain might be, yeah, you're not looking all that great, you're looking kind of tired, your clothes aren't fitting the way they used to. It's so interesting what your brain will do. It will go and find evidence to whatever you are thinking. It is impartial. So you might have some of these garbly-gooky thoughts that expand and become bigger and hook onto other ones. And they might actually overshadow these little stars, these hopes and dreams that you have. They might overshadow them to the point that they're not very recognizable anymore. They're covered up. And and you think, excuse me, I'm still dealing with a sore throat. So you may have a couple little hopes and dreams that are still out there that are not completely covered up, but you might have some that are almost forgotten, or they may start to actually even feel a little bit impossible because we haven't fed them. We haven't fed those dreams. Those little hopes and dreams in the world that we live in today, they require being fed. We live in a world that spontaneously grows weeds. It does not spontaneously grow fruit trees. So it's the same with our brain. Our brain is more likely to spontaneously grow weeds in our brain than it would, or the gobbledygook, than it would a fruit tree, or our hopes and dreams and things that we desire to have. So in this world, it is crucial. It's very important, and it's actually necessary for us to be intentional, just as if we would weed our flower bed because we have weeds in it. It's important for us to weed our minds too, to pull up those weeds and to get them out of there. So how do we do that? That's what we're gonna talk a little bit about that today. So I am, for you podcasters, I am erasing all the garbly-gook. So, or some of the garbly-gook. We're going to leave some of it in there because that is realistic, that we are going to have some garbly-gook in there. But letting go of a lot of it makes a huge difference. We can see those stars again. We can see what our hopes and dreams are, that they're still there. Oh, they're still there. We might not feel like they're as possible as we used to before the garbly-gook went over them. But now it's our chance. Now we have an opportunity to actually grow them. So how did we get rid of all of that garbly-gook? Well, what I would suggest is the way we do that is through expression. When we are silent, we suffer in silence. We tend to, when we live in shadow, we tend to let it grow, let that garbly-gook, that garbage grow. And when we express, that actually lets it outside of us. So either expressing with our mouth, that lets you get it out into the airwaves. You're actually getting out that garbage outside of you. That's why sometimes talking to a trusted friend actually helps you think more clearly, because you've sorted things out in your mind, you've organized things, and you've talked it through. If you're one of those people, I am one of those people that I talk things through sometimes to sort things in my brain and understand what I'm thinking. It actually takes out a lot of that garbly-gook because you're taking out the confusion with it. You're taking the self-doubt. You're taking whatever that confusion had with it. And so expression through talking, and then also expression through writing. Now, I'll tell you that they both have their benefits. I'm an auditory learner, so I actually remember what I hear more than what I read. And so I actually am drawn to speaking a lot. And I can tell you that there is great benefit in that. There is also great benefit in expression through writing. So as you write, more connections are made in the brain because you're doing a little bit more. You're thinking about what you're actually putting out there, where you could say things and kind of go in circles. You can do that. And I have done that. When you write, you have to actually condense it down into writing. You have to decide what is actually going to go on the paper. And so it forces the brain to focus. It forces the brain to acknowledge what is going on inside of it. So as you're writing, you're discovering sometimes what you're thinking and how you're feeling. And it actually, the act of writing with your hand and seeing, like using all of these senses, it's like a full body experience, pretty much, except for your mouth, unless you're saying it out loud. But as you're writing with your hand, you're seeing yourself writing and you are seeing the words. Your brain actually keeps track of what you're writing. And so you actually don't really repeat yourself a lot when you're doing a written expression, where you might repeat yourself over and over when you're talking. So it can be a more dense experience, a more complete experience doing writing as you are expressing and getting out all of this garbage. Now, I'll tell you what happens here is that as you're freeing up space and letting go of this garbage that's inside of you, you're actually freeing up space. Have you ever heard the term that you can't fill a full cup? You can't pour any more water into a full cup. If you're already full of gobbledygook, of garbage, excuse me, you can't, it's very hard to let in anything else, let in anything that might be truth, because you've got all this garbage in the way that's very loud and it's got your attention. And so anything that is truth is likely going to be not as loud, not as dramatic, probably a little bit more subtle. And because that's how the spirit speaks. That's how our spirit speaks. That's how God speaks. That's how our intuition speaks, is more subtle. It's more positive or neutral. And usually that tone of communication is not loud and in your face. It is more subtle. So when you're full, it's harder to recognize those messages. It's harder to get answers when you're pondering or praying and you're asking for help. It's harder to get answers when you are brainstorming or problem solving or attempting to problem solve. So as you're getting out this garbage, you're freeing up space. You're getting some of that, you're pouring some of that out of your cup. So you have space to pour in the positive. Now, I also love the argument that when you build up the positive, it actually pushes out the negative. That is true as well. When you are blocked, though, sometimes your belief is also blocked. And so it is sometimes harder to get off dead center when you to build up the positive inside of you and build up your goals and dreams and talk about them. It's sometimes harder to do that without letting go of some of the gobbledygook, because that gobbledygook sometimes is rather sticky and it sticks to the goals and dreams and sometimes even taints them a little bit. We feel that they're tainted. So I love this exercise of expression in order to receive. And so for you YouTubers, I've got these arrows coming down. For these podcasters that are listening in, I've got arrows coming down, and those are the spiritual downloads that now you have room to receive. And it's just easier. I'm building up these stars here, making them bigger. It's easier to build up these goals and dreams and build them up so that they do overshadow the gobbledygook and say, no, actually, this is true about me and my abilities and my purpose. Say what you want, but this is true about me. So when you are blocked, that is the thing that I would encourage you to do first, is do some emotional decluttering. If you've been following me for a while, you know I'm huge into emotional decluttering in lots of different ways. And this is one of those that the world needs you. The world needs more hope. And when we have something that we've been inspired to do, sometimes we will receive more interference to that than if we weren't guided and directed to do something specific. When we have some kind of inspiration or some kind of just this little spark inside that says that we're made for more than what we're doing, sometimes we do tend to have a little bit more of that interference or that opposition. And we have opposition just in everyday life. We have weeds that grow spontaneously in this world. There are things that, in order for us to thrive, it is, and I believe it's God's design to help us to grow and become, because we're motivated to grow and become when we have weeds. We don't want the weeds. We want to get them out of there. So it forces us to grow. It forces us to become more than we were before. So this is the challenge that I would give you, is to do some expression and get some of that gobbledygook out so that you can grow those goals and dreams that you have inside of you. All right. Take care. We'll see you next time.